The Indian Constitution 96 Amendment Act 2002 inserted Article 21A in the Constitution of India to provide free and compulsory education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years as a fundamental right in such a manner as the state may by law determine. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act 2009, which represents the constitutional legislation envisaged under the Article 21A, means that every child has a right to full-time elementary education of satisfactory and equitable equality in formal school, which satisfies certain essential norms and standards. Fundamental duties. The fundamental duties were added to the Indian Constitution through the 42nd Amendment Act, Part 4A of the Indian Constitution, defines the fundamental duties. 51A. It shall be the duty of every citizen of India to abide by the Constitution uh, and respect its ideals and constitutions and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem, to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India, to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, to promote harmony and spirit of universal brotherhood among the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practices that derogatory to the dignity of woman, to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture, to protect and promote the natural environment including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures, to develop the scientific temper, humanism and spirit of inquiry and reform, to safeguard public property and to observe violence, to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. Who is a parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child, as the case may be, what between the age of 6 and 14 years. India is an indestructible union with destructible states, which means it acquires a unitary character during the time of emergency. The union is not strictly a federal polity but a quasi-federal polity with some vital elements of unitary tenets, though the federal informed the Indian constitution, unlike the other federal constitutions, is both unitary as well as federal according to the requirements of the times and the circumstances, balancing parliamentary supremacy with judicial review subject to the provisions of any law made by the parliament or any rules made by the Supreme Court. Under Article 145, the Supreme Court has the power to review any judgment pronounced or made by it. The independent judiciary in India, with the power of judicial review, is a prominent feature of our constitution. The harmonization which our constitution has effected between parliamentary sovereignty and the written constitution with the provision for judicial review is a remarkable achievement of the framers of our constitution. Directive principles of state policy. One of the unique provisions of the Indian Constitution is the directive principles of state policy. These principles are like directives to the government to implement them from the establishing social and economic justice in India. It comprises significant provisions for equal pay for both men and women, free and compulsory primary education, and right to work. Part 4 of the Indian Constitution has provision for public assistance in case of old age and unemployment, sickness and disablement. The organization of village panchayats, adequate means to livelihood, special privilege to the economically backward sections of the people, and distribution of wealth. Both of these principles could help in India making India a welfare state, though the provisions given in the directive principles of state policy is not justifiable. These principles are considered very significant in the governance of the country. Under Article 79, the Parliament consists of the President and two houses, respectively as the Council of States, Rajya Sabha, and the House of the People. The Lok Sabha, the Union legislature, is bicameral, and the need for a bicameral system of the legislature in a federation is admitted. The upper house represents the units, and lower house represents the people. The two houses respectively functions to preserve the integrity of the units and to secure the integration of the union. The rules of procedure and conduct of business in Rajya Sabha is the booklet that provides explicit conduct of its members. There are various discussions, namely half-an-hour discussion, short duration discussion, and motions of matters in public interest. Use of Tamil as of 1st August 2014. Use of Tamil as court language in Tamil Nadu. India, that is, Article 1 states that India, that is Bharat, shall be a union of states. The first Assembly 1952-1957 of the Constitution of India discussed the scheme of elementary education launched by the Rajoji government and criticized by many, including a few in the Congress party, that it perpetuate caste-based social hierarchy. After Samraj succeeded him, Education Minister C. Subramaniam May 1954 informed the House that the scheme would be dropped. The Rajoji days are remembered for landmark laws to protect tenants of farmlands and landless agriculturists. Premier of Madras Presidency C. Rajesh Location in Madras. Location in Madras Legislative Assembly, Senate House, Chefak, Madras University, date 1937.